Welcome to Intuitive Transformations with your host, Sylvia Henderson, and discover tools, wisdom, and inspiration that will empower you to transform your life. Sylvia is an intuitive life coach and energy healer with a growing practice that is focused on empowering others to be more of who they want to be. For the next hour, join Sylvia and explore and unravel anything in the way of you creating the life that you would love to live on the OMTimes radio network.
Hello and welcome to the Intuitive Transformations radio show, where you will find tools you can use to transform your life right here on the OMTimes radio network, the voice of consciousness. I'm Sylvia Henderson, your host, and I am here live every Sunday evening at 6 p.m. Pacific time and 9 p.m. Eastern time on iom.fm in your internet browser. And this is where you will find enlightening conversations that create connections soul to soul and provide valuable information and resources that will inspire you to expand into more of who you truly are so that you can step more boldly into what you love and desire to receive in your life. For more information about me and what I do, please visit my website at intuitivetransformations.net. That's intuitivetransformations.net. And if you happen to be in the Seattle, Washington area next Saturday on October 24th, please join me for a day of fun-filled transformation and positive change at the Become Your Most Powerful You workshop. This is a women's-only event, and it promises to provide you with sustainable change and tools that you will want to use months after the workshop is over. For more information, visit yourmostpowerfulyou.com. That's yourmostpowerfulyou.com. And you can get all the details there and register. I would love to see you, again, if you're in the Seattle, Washington area. Also, as we are approaching the end of this year, I want to remind everyone to please be mindful of what you are feeding yourself mentally. Be sure to make your conversations encouraging rather than just a regurgitation of your problems or an expose of what is not going well, because your subconscious mind consumes everything that you expose it to. So try to choose conversations and experiences that will elevate you vibrationally and emotionally and be in alignment with who you are and your integrity, so that you can feel good about what you're experiencing and what you're doing. And here's why I'm making this a topic today. As an intuitive, I feel like, and I don't know what this is, but today when I was prepping for the show, I just really felt like there is something uncomfortable kind of hanging in the air vibrationally lately. And I also feel like it's getting extremely difficult for people to manage their fearful and worrisome thoughts. So if what I'm saying is resonating with you, meaning that you're having kind of a tough time right now or it's challenging, maybe you're dealing with some fear and worry and anxiety, then I want you to let me know, because I would absolutely love to add you to my personal prayer list. I've never offered this before on the radio, but I feel like this is what I'm supposed to do right now in this day and time, and it's something I'm going to continue to do on a weekly basis, and here's why. I fully believe that you need to know that you are valuable and that you are perfect and good enough and deserving of the very, very best that love and life have to offer. And you need evidence of just how loved you are by the creator of all that is. So no matter what your situation may be, I want you to know that all of life is here to love and support you. And I'm also here to support you as well. This is why I created this show, so that I could support others and bring other people on the show to support others who are having challenges, and hopefully provide inspiration to create a life that you would actually love living. If you would like me to add you to my personal prayer list, just go to my website, intuitivetransformations.net, and send me a message from there. Or you can even go to the bottom of today's show description page on OMTimes.com. It'll be in the archives tomorrow. And you can find it there. And you can send me there's an email icon, and you can send me an email from there to let me know you want to be added on my personal prayer list. And all I need from you is your first and last name, your age, the city and state you live in or the country that you live in, and I will put you on my personal prayer list. You don't have to tell me what your challenge is. Spirit knows. And really the thing is that we're all on Mother Earth together. And I really want you to know that you are not alone. We are all on a spiritual journey, individually and collectively. And I think that this is something that my wonderful guests that I have joining me here today would certainly agree to be true. Everyone is somewhere along their spiritual roadmap. And so today I am very excited to have with me Shelly Wilson, and we are going to talk about her latest book, Journey into Consciousness, One Woman's Story of Spiritual Awakening. Now, in Journey into Consciousness, Shelly shares details about her personal spiritual journey, which allowed her to embody her soul's purpose and passion to become an intuitive, a healer, and a medium. Before I bring Shelly on, let me tell you just a little bit more about this remarkable being of light. Shelly is an intuitive medium, a Reiki master, and a spiritual growth coach who loves assisting others along their spiritual journey. With respect, truth, integrity, and love, Shelly honors the free will of others and recognizes that everyone co-creates their reality with the universe. Shelly is the author of 28 Days to a New You, Connect to the You Within, and, as I mentioned earlier, Journey into Consciousness. Shelly has studied with names that I know you will surely recognize, such as Sonia Choquette, Lisa Williams, James Von Prague, John Holland, and Tony Stockwell. She is also a certified Karuna Reiki Master through the International Center for Reiki Training. In addition, Shelly is a featured columnist and an executive editor for OMTimes magazine. Shelly Wilson lives in Oklahoma, and she has a Bachelor of Science in Business with a minor in psychology. Shelly Wilson, hello and welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Sylvia. And I have to say, I felt and heard every word. And as you were doing the introduction, offering that beautiful gift to your listeners, and I truly feel and resonate with you that people do have an innate need to want to be acknowledged. They want to be valued, appreciated, and loved. And we all need support on this journey into consciousness that we're on.
Absolutely. And especially as of late, because I tell you, the journey is getting bumpier, especially if you buy into the mainstream media and you watch the news and just even if you don't, energetically, if you're a sensitive or empathic, you can feel it.
Absolutely. And with the solar flares and the full moon, new moon, the lunar eclipses, all of that, those that are sensitive and those that are not even, it has been affecting us tremendously.
It really has. I have a son with autism, and I tell you, he has not slept in months. It's been a rough year. It really has, because he's super sensitive. So people are feeling it. So that really is my heartfelt desire. And as I'm sure is yours as well, to help people heal their hearts and to give them the tools that they need in order to be successful.
Absolutely. And I understand that we just recently really connected. And the beautiful thing is Spirit always provides those people in our path to assist us, especially when we're having challenges, and to assist us in co-creating together.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Isn't that lovely? I was just thinking about something I read in your book where you said, don't try to seek solution, allow it to unfold. And that's really how life is supposed to be.
It is. And we just have to have patience to the best of our ability and honor our emotions and go with the flow.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, let's talk about this amazing book that I absolutely love. I cannot believe how much information is in this book, Journey into Consciousness. I mean, you cover everything in here, from your personal journey. You have tools, you have resources, you talk about many different modalities, and it is it's not just a wonderful, entree into who you are and how you became who you are today and what you've gone through, but it also is just such a great reference manual too, because there's so much you put in here, Shelly. I commend you for that.
Well, thank you so much. And I will tell you, when I initially wrote it, I had a lot of fear in regards to what do I share? What will people think? And I chose to move forward, and there it is.
Well, you've done an outstanding job. So I can't wait for us to really dig into this. I know that in just a few more moments, we're going to be headed into a break already. But I do want to remind everyone that I have Shelly Wilson here, and you want to listen to this show, please stay tuned as we're getting ready to prepare to go to a break, because what Shelly has put together in this book is something that everyone should have, on their in their bookcase, in their personal library, because there is something for you. This is not just her personal story. This is all of our stories. We are all going through the same thing. And so why reinvent the wheel when she's being a leader for us? Please stay tuned. We're going into a break, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Your conscious connection to a more mindful world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network.
Circle of Hearts Radio is a sanctuary on the airwaves. Join me, Grandmother Elia, in the circle on Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern, as I share information to both enlighten and nourish your soul.
Live with Medium Lisa Phoenix, Mediumship Messages and Musings, explores mediumship and all things metaphysical. Lisa Phoenix invites you to reach above and beyond your everyday experiences, to explore new dimensions in the spirit world. She will do live readings to connect callers to their loved ones in spirit, shares engaging stories and teachings from her own personal experience, and will have intriguing conversations with other mediums, spiritual teachers, and healers to help you understand the metaphysical world so you can connect to these forces in your day-to-day life. Join your host on this magical and metaphysical journey into the world of spirit every Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time.
Have you ever wondered how to change your love paradigm? The secret key is finding a love partnership, not just a regular connection. How do you find these? Through conscious relationships. Ascending Hearts Dating is a dating site for people like you that believes in second chances and a different type of spiritual connection. Try Ascending Hearts for free today at ascendinghearts.com and change your love paradigm. Ascending Hearts, the premier dating community for the spiritually awake. The future of Internet radio is here. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Welcome back. You're listening to Intuitive Transformations with Sylvia Henderson. And I have with me my very special guest, Shelly Wilson. She's an intuitive medium, a Reiki master, and a spiritual growth coach. And we're talking about her most recent book, Journey into Consciousness. So, Shelly, for those who have not had an opportunity to read your book, or maybe those who are like, they're not even sure, am I on a spiritual journey? What do you mean by consciousness? What does that mean exactly?
Well, to me, this awareness that we have when we start asking the questions, who am I? Why am I here? What am I supposed to be doing? We're moving from a 5-sense sentient being to operating on our 6th sense with that intuitive awareness. To me, that is becoming more aware of that consciousness that we are all a part of. And so the book, Journey into Consciousness, as you indicated, Sylvia, talks about my spiritual journey. Section 1 of the book are those pivotal moments in my life that made me who I am. The second section starts with my spiritual awakening, which I deemed May 1st, 2008. I had a reading at that time that was very powerful, so I select that as a specific date. And throughout the entire book, I do share tips and tools for others so that they can apply what I've learned and apply that to their own journey that we're all on. And so whether or not, wherever you are on the journey, and whether or not you feel like you are on a journey or seeking, to me, from the moment we breathe that first breath of life to the moment that we cease to breathe, we're on this human incarnation, earth plane existence, and having this experience. And so I believe that we're spiritual beings having that human life experience.
I totally agree with you on that. So for those who have not had a chance to read your book, I think that sometimes people perceive that, oh, I bet Shelly grew up in a home that was absolutely perfect, and they fostered and nurtured her own spiritual growth and expansion into whatever direction she wanted. And I'm just wondering if you can share a little bit of background that you do share in your book about how your life is different now in terms of your spiritual point of views.
Absolutely. Well, I was smiling and chuckling to myself as you were saying that, Sylvia. I recognize that I definitely chose my parents for a reason. On a soul level, I chose them to learn and to grow and to evolve. And so I was raised, for the most part, here in Oklahoma. I was originally born in Kansas. My dad is a civil engineer. I was raised in the Baptist faith. And my upbringing was one where you're seen and not heard. You don't ask questions, or at least you don't ask too many questions. And, it's one of those things where you just do what you're told, as I said, and everything will be perfect when you do that. Well, I had always had this feeling that there was always more. I always felt that God was not outside of me, but within me, that I didn't need to go to church to connect with Him, consciousness. And I always, had these experiences too growing up that I definitely felt that were out of body type experiences. And I just knew things. I was a very sensitive child. I had epilepsy and migraine headaches and also essential tremor. And once I woke up and I realized I was actually channeling energy, all of that dissipated, went away, and I, am very much a clairsentient being, very sensitive, a feeler, just to give all of the synonyms of what that entails. But I see now what a gift it is to be able to do this work as a psychic, as a medium, and as a healer.
That's beautiful. So earlier you mentioned about May 1st, 2008, you had a reading. Would you mind sharing with the listeners, in a nutshell, what was it about that reading that was a pivotal point for you?
Absolutely. Well, as I said before, we ask those questions. Who am I? Why am I here? What am I supposed to be doing? What is my purpose?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people ask those. And to me, those are the proverbial keys that unlock that door to that higher consciousness, to that awareness. Well, I sought out an individual to connect me to my angels and loved ones who had passed. And I waited 2 months to have this reading. It was a phone reading. She immediately tapped into my energy and knew that I had tremors, that my hand shook. And she talked to me about that, but she also said, and I'll never forget these words, she said, Shelly, I just have to tell you, your purpose is here to shine your light on others so that others see the truth of who they really are. You are meant to heal hearts one by one by one. You see people differently than they see themselves, and that's how you make a difference. Mm-hmm. And so literally I cried those tears of joy, knowing that I just have to be me, that I don't have to do anything special just to make myself available, to be that ear to listen, to smile, to acknowledge others. And that's what I've chosen to do as to be of service and to assist people in their own awakening and their own awareness.
You know, I like how you mentioned the things that people who have a point of view or have an idea of what a spiritual awakening is, or have an idea of what an intuitive or a psychic or a medium or a healer is, to say it's the smiles. Sometimes it's the simplest things that can produce the most profound healing in someone's soul.
I agree. And even you offering to add individuals, your listeners, to your prayer list, I will tell you, and I've got chills all over, Spirit gives me chills when that's truth, when we're on target. It's even that moment of saying, I will do this for you. I see you. Mm-hmm. I recognize your struggles, your challenges. That makes a difference in people's lives. And it has a ripple effect throughout our lives, throughout humanity, throughout consciousness as a whole.
Well, we're all on this big starship called Mother Earth together.
We are.
So, and really, consciousness too, to me, is we are all one. That's all we really are, right? Is consciousness. It's not the physical form. It's the consciousness. Like the waves in the ocean.
Yes, we're all drops of the ocean, and mm-hmm. we're all having our unique human life experience. We're, our own personality, our own physical characteristics, but we're all of the same energy, the same vibration. We're just choosing on a soul level to express it in different ways. And I think that's why we are so sensitive and feel what is going on in the world and in the media and the news and everything else, because we are feeling that collective vibration.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. So in your journey, one of the key players is Reiki, really. Yes. It was a big opening for you. Can you share a little bit about that?
Sure. Well, the individual that I had the reading with also happened to be a Reiki master. And when she spoke to me about it, it just felt right, felt good. So I traveled to Kansas City to study with her. And as I like to say, Reiki opened the door and I walked through it. And it really helped to shift energy in my life. It helped to give me confidence. It helped to clear out the proverbial clutter, so to speak. And I recognized that it helped me to trust that knowingness that I had and to develop further psychically as well as the mediumistic gifts.
So the first thing that turned on for you, I shouldn't say turned on, because I think you're always, all of us are psychic really, and all of us have the ability to be mediums, right?
I feel that everyone has the ability to be psychic, and I do feel that everyone has the ability to see signs, recognize signs from mm-hmm. their loved ones. Mm-hmm. But sometimes it does take a little bit more effort or practice to really tap in and tune in to the other side, because it is absolutely heightening that awareness. But I agree, everyone can do it. It's just sometimes people give up because it is heightening that awareness and paying attention to the subtleties.
Right, exactly. And then moving past that little buffer called doubt.
Yes, exactly. I'm making this up.
Exactly. You mean I should trust that this is actually happening? That's so true. So for you, what was your first impetus that you were going to do mediumship? How did you get pulled to that? Because here we are, we get this angel reading, and now we're doing Reiki and some other thing, and now we're doing mediumship. And so
how did it happen?
That's a big leap. Yeah. How did that happen?
Well, I really didn't know that I was a medium. Lisa Williams came into my awareness. Literally, I'd never seen her on TV, didn't know who she was, but I happened to get the newspaper. This was February of 2010. I never get the Tulsa World because I live an hour from there, but I was guided to get it that day. There was an ad in the entertainment section, just about a 2x2. I saw it and said she was coming to the Performing Arts Center. I didn't know who she was, but I knew that I needed to be there. And so I went, saw her gallery reading, the presentation. I signed up for her mailing list, bought her book, and she put out an intermediate mediumship class that was going to be held in Dallas that November of 2010, and you applied for it. And I got that application and I filled it out, and I didn't know how I knew, but I knew I would be there. And I was. And the rest, shall we say, is history. And I will tell you, it was, this information is really coming from those that have passed. I'm really picking up information. And over the past 5 years, I have really stepped into that, trusted it. I will tell you that I approach every reading very humble. And sometimes I'm like, oh, I hope the information is evidential and it makes sense and it comes through, because our humanness tends to want to doubt it.
Yes. Isn't that true? That is so true. But, isn't that such a beautiful healing opportunity that you create in the mediumship work?
It definitely is. And I am honored to do it, to be of service to spirit. And I view it as an opportunity to provide closure for those that have passed, as well as for those here that are grieving their loved ones. But I also recognize it too, that it provides an awareness that there is a continuity of life after the physical transition.
Well, I want to discuss that a little bit more, and I know we're getting ready to go into a break in just a minute. So definitely that, I think, is where we're going to start when we return. I just want to remind everyone that we're sharing a conversation about Shelly Wilson's most recent book, Journey into Consciousness, and you are listening to Intuitive Transformations on OMTimes Radio. We're going into another break, and we will be back in just a few minutes. Stay tuned. There's so much more to come, and you don't want to miss this.
Bringing a more conscious lifestyle to your world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
Hi, this is Angela Levesque, host of Entanglement Radio. Join me Wednesdays at 12 p.m. Eastern for inspiring conversations with visionaries in spiritual science and conscious healing. Entanglement Radio, Wednesdays at 12 p.m. Eastern. Transcendent talk for the conscious mind.
Do you want to be a better communicator? Do you want to better connect with the important people in your life? Do you want to enrich your relationships? If so, join me, Matthew Cooper, on the Positive Control System Show every Wednesday evening at 11 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time on OMTimes Radio. I'll meet you there.
Are you trying to get from point A to point B and need a little advice? Connect with the counselors at OMTimes Advisors. Whether you're looking for a life coach or a spiritual intuitive, the advisors participating at advisors.omtimes.com were carefully chosen based on their gifts, skills, and professionalism. OMTimes Advisors, connecting you with the best advisors in the business. Connecting you with the best of the conscious minds in the world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Welcome back. This is Sylvia Henderson with my lovely guest, Shelly Wilson, author, medium, intuitive, healer, and coach. So, Shelly, before we went to the break, we were talking a little bit about mediumship, and you mentioned something about the continuity that happens on the other side. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Absolutely. Well, we learned in school that energy cannot be created or destroyed. And once our physical form passes, transitions, no longer breathes the breath of life, just to say it many different ways, the energy is still there and our soul, spirit's still there. And so it's just vibrating at a higher frequency. And to me, if you raise your hand out and upwards at a 90-degree angle, that is the other side. It's all around us. And so when we pay attention to if we see flashes of light or we see maybe some shadows, it's easier to do it when you're outside in the daylight and you kind of look upwards at a 90-degree angle. You can see energy. I love seeing the formations and the orbs and the DNA helixes and all that. But that is our loved ones all around us, and they communicate with each one of us, not just through a medium, but they communicate using the electrical lights, phones ringing. They can, mess with our computer, things like that, and provide us songs on the radio, songs that come within our mind, those pennies from heaven, birds, nature, all kinds of forms. There's many ways that they can communicate with each one of us just to let us know that they're with us. And they do this to me, especially, when we may be having one of those challenging days.
So kind of a confirmation that we're here to support you.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Well, we all have unseen friends and unseen help when we acknowledge it, right? I know I tend to see numbers, 222, 333, 444, 111, or 1111, I should say, that kind of thing. That's a subtle reminder that, hey, we're here. Don't worry about it. We've got you.
Yes, and to me, those signs not only come from our loved ones who have passed, but they come from our angels and guides too. And the more that we can believe in them, see them as a sign, that's when the comfort comes. Because to me, everything, just like Reiki, in order for it to be effective, you have to believe in it. You have to believe that it will be effective, even if it allows you to feel at peace and relaxed. There's the belief and the intention within everything.
Right. Right. And it's such a powerful modality. It's so beautiful.
I definitely agree.
So I wanted to ask you about some of the tools that you have listed in your book, which you have so many tools. It's there. You will not. I just want everyone to know who's listening, you will not want for resources with this book. She has really done a phenomenal job making sure that if you have questioned anything, like chakras or meditation, it's all in here, visualization. And she just goes into so many different aspects of what can come your way along your spiritual journey. So, but you have a whole section in your book that you have dedicated to over 30 different tools and methods and techniques that people can utilize. And so I'm just curious, if you had to name your top 3 out of that list, I hope you know which section I'm talking about.
Yes, section 3.
Yeah, section 3. What would be your top 3 go-to that you still consistently pretty much use?
Well, I like to say that I practice what I teach. I walk my talk. I talk my walk. I am all about, and first 3 that came into my awareness, definitely be present in the moment. Allow yourself to focus consciously your energy in the here and now. If you're dwelling in the past with the coulda, woulda, shouldas, the regrets, the might have beens, or you're constantly living in the future and trying to plan, your energy is not in the now, in this present moment. So to me, the more that you're in the now, in the moment, the more that you can consciously create. The second tool, and we all do this, that's why we're here and alive, we breathe. So conscious breathing is essential. It's a great stress reducer. You can do mindful breathing, and that is a great meditation. But I like to just pause for a moment. I like to visualize myself breathing in that emerald green healing energy and letting go of anyone and anything that no longer serves me, and then exhaling that. And conscious breathing is a great meditation tool, as I said before, great stress reliever. And the third thing that is absolutely coming into my awareness is just allowing yourself to honor your emotions, regardless if you would perceive them as good, bad, or ugly. That's just a label. But if you're having one of those days where it may feel a bit challenging and tough, honor what you're feeling. If you feel angry, if you feel sad, if you feel frustrated, honor that. Allow yourself to move through it. Ask those questions. Why am I feeling this way? What's really going on? And then as you move through it, rather than suppressing it or repressing it, you're able to get back to where you were, or even a better state of being. Because a lot of people that want to put on that happy face and they're not really feeling happy is doing injustice and a disservice to themselves. Each one of us deserve to feel empowered, to live a good life. And I think a lot of that has to do with honoring those emotions that we feel.
You know, you hit the nail on the head with that, because that's what I work with quite a bit with a lot of my clients. I do theta work, and we work with belief systems that block people from feeling their emotions, because we have been trained since we were little ones not to feel our emotions. And it's something in our society that's kind of shunned, you know, which is why people go to distractions like drinking or working too much or TV, or, you know, because they don't want to feel their emotions. They're afraid they'll be overwhelmed.
And I think not only are they afraid they'll feel overwhelmed, I think they're afraid that they'll be chastised for them. And whether we use the word trained or conditioned, it is many times a part of our culture, our upbringing. And I really love the book, The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz.
Beautiful book.
Just for those listeners that may not be familiar with it, I will describe it very succinctly for you. There's 4 agreements that we can help and utilize and practice to break that conditioning of culture, whether it's family or religious beliefs, whatever it may be. But the first agreement is be impeccable with your words. So this is talk with integrity, come from that place of love, say what you mean. The second one is don't take anything personally. What people say or do is not because of you. It may be a projection of themselves. Regardless of what it is, you don't have to receive it or take it personally. The third one is don't make assumptions. And we all know what assuming means. And the thing is many people do that and they jump to conclusions, and we're absolutely interpreting it wrong. This is where miscommunication comes in. And the fourth agreement is always do your best, and know that your best is going to change in every moment depending on how you feel. So that self-talk, and Sylvia was talking about this in the first segment, how very important it is to become conscious of that energy that you put out, how you feel about yourself, because you're absolutely amazing. Each individual is, regardless of where they're at in the moment. Feel what you're feeling and just know that you're doing your best.
That, you know, I wish that children got that as their coursework in school around the globe. The world would be a completely different place, wouldn't it?
It would, but we also have to know that everything is how it's supposed to be in this moment. And part of our being here is to create that change. You know, look at what has happened in the past few months with the ability here in the U.S., especially for people to marry who they want to. Yes. Wow, that was huge. And we just have to know that so many other changes are taking place.
And that was an interesting journey to get to that point, because there were many who endured a lot of judgment and harsh treatment along that road to make that happen. But it was out of that adversity that the strength really came to persevere, to to formulate this final outcome, don't you think?
Oh, I agree. And just look at, the past few decades with the right to vote and, the segregation, and we could go on and look at everything that we are familiar with. And, things still need to change. People do need to come from that heart space of love, that we are all of the same vibration. But I think also, when people come here and incarnate it each time that they choose to, that they're here to, be a catalyst for change, or sometimes they're here to be that proverbial villain. And then there's those that are the heroes. So if we look at everyone who's writing the story of their lives, and everyone plays a role in that, and all these stories are playing out simultaneously.
Exactly. And I know in the work I do with some Akashic records clearing and then hypnotherapy, past life regression, that, we have played all these different roles. And isn't it about just losing the judgment?
I agree. Absolutely. And I keep having to say too, we are of the age where we knew what it was like before the internet. How amazing is that?
Yeah, exactly. Well, and when you think about your awakening, so that people, because that's a word that we hear a lot in the metaphysical community and the spiritual community, and you see it on the internet. Oh, we're having an ascension. Oh, we're having an awakening, and it's, I know you spoke a little bit about consciousness, but this awakening, the process in of itself, even though it's different and unique for every person, there are some similarities, correct?
Yes. And I feel, just to provide my perception and description of it, it's that awareness shift from 5 senses to the 6th sense. It's seeing things from a higher soul perspective. It's recognizing that, we can look back on reflection and really see the big picture, even though sometimes in that moment we don't see it. But as far as, raising our vibration, it all has to do with learning, growing, evolving, seeing what the lessons are within each experience. Mm-hmm. And as I said, seeing it from a different level, from a different space, and really understanding that there's more to it than the experience itself.
And so in that awareness, being able to do that, is it really that you awaken, or it's an unfolding of awakening that happens?
I would say it's an unfolding, because I think, just as myself, I was able to identify a time when it was really that aha light bulb moment where I got it. But it was absolutely a progression, because I could see upon reflection, looking back, so many opportunities that got me to that moment where it was like, yes, I get it now.
That's beautiful. That makes sense to me. Well, everyone, we're going into another break. If you just tuned in, this is Sylvia Henderson, and I have with me my guest, Shelly Wilson. We will be back in just a moment as we continue our conversation about Journey into Consciousness. So please stay tuned.
Conscious media for conscious minds. OMTimes. Being a radio host on IOM-FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network.
Dr. Kevin here, and I want to invite you every Thursday, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, to join me on The Dr. Kevin Show, where we have a diversity of guests who help you step outside the box, behind the curtain, and see what a load of crap is going on in the world today, so you have more information with which to make better decisions. We'll see you there. Namaste.
Are you ready to shift your energy, consciousness, and limiting beliefs? Join me, Shefali Burns, every Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern on Shifting with Shefali here on OMTimes Radio. Shift the blocks, limitations, and negative energies that have kept you from experiencing a life filled with joy, peace, love, abundance, and happiness. Are you ready to shift with Shefali? Are you ready to shine your brilliance?
Simone Milasas would like you to know that business can be fun, which is why she wrote the book, Joy of Business. What if you could have the joy of business rather than the stress and struggle? Most of the time, the only thing stopping you from a thriving business is you. In the Joy of Business book, Simone gives you access consciousness tools and pragmatic ways to get out of your own way and to create the business, life, and living you know is possible and beyond what this reality says is achievable. Business is joy. It's creation. It's generative. It can be the adventure of living. You can purchase your copy of the book through Amazon or Joy of Business website, www.accessjoyofbusiness.com. The cutting edge of conscious radio, OMTimes Radio, IOM FM.
Welcome back, everyone. This is Sylvia Henderson, and you're listening to Intuitive Transformations on OMTimes Radio Network, and I have with me Shelly Wilson, my very special guest. Shelly, can you share with everyone how they can get in contact with you, how they can find you, if you have any events that are coming up?
Sure. Well, my website is shellyrwilson.com, and that's SHELLYRWILSON.com. You can find me on Facebook. I have Intuitive Medium Shelly is the URL. The page name is Shelly Wilson. I also have pages for each of my books, 28 Days to a New You, Connect to the You Within, and Journey into Consciousness. And each of those books can be purchased through my website if you'd like a signed copy, or it's available through Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, many other online stores. And if you want an ebook, it's available through Amazon.
Great. That's fantastic. So no events? You're not speaking anywhere anytime soon?
Well, everything you can find on my website. I have an events tab, so I have a lot of things coming up, but feel free just to visit the website.
That is lovely. Wonderful. You know, this is the final segment of the show. I can't believe how quickly this has gone by. But real quickly, briefly, can you just share a little bit about your other two books, 28 Days to a New You? What is that about?
Well, that book started out as a daily OM course, and it was Stop Existing and Start Living. And my guide suggested that some people may not like the feel of a course, and they would prefer a book. So I converted it into book form, but it gives you 28 topics to focus on, and the key is shifting your perception. So it gives you, for each of the 28 chapters, you can look at it and do it as each day, or you could read it straight through. It's your preference, but it gives you a focused topic, gives you questions to consider, as well as some tools to consider, some exercises that you may want to work with. Connect to the You Within is a reminder that your soul is already awake. You, on a human level, simply need to connect to that knowingness of the soul. So this book started out as Opening Your Heart to Love, once again a daily OM course. My guides, as I said before, suggested convert it to a book, so I did. And it gives you different topics to focus on, to assisting with your angels, guides, loved ones on the other side, heightening that awareness. I provide some personal insight in each of those books as well. And also Opening Your Heart to Love, it has the questions to consider and some meditations to assist you.
That is great. I love how you said that Connect to the You Within was about your soul is already awake. And, you know, the image I get is a teenager's bedroom with all the dirty laundry on the floor. And really it's about, you know, peeling off all those layers that aren't really the truth of who you are to find this beautiful, pristine hardwood floor underneath.
What a visual.
Right?
Yes, but it makes sense. And, you know, the thing is, too, that all of the answers that each one of us seek can be found within if we take the time to listen. But we need that downtime. We need to spend time in meditation, reflection, whatever you want to call it. But it is allowing that time to listen, to pay attention to that knowingness that comes in, because we all get guidance. But do we act on it? Do we believe, you know, it's coming from our higher self, our angels and guides, or do we write it off? And I think the more that we do heighten that awareness, that's where we can see and witness and acknowledge and appreciate those signs that we're getting, talking about the numbers and the songs and all of those other beautiful messages.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And I also loved how you spoke about your first book, 28 Days to a New You, that it's all about shifting perceptions. That is so important. I mean, that's the one thing the Course in Miracles calls a miracle, is a shift in perception.
Yes. And, you know, we can't change the past, but we can change our perception of it. And I fully and wholeheartedly believe that there are no mistakes in life, that even though we perceive that we made a mistake, in reality, I think we should view it as an opportunity to learn and to grow. And when we learn and grow from it and not repeat it, it's definitely not a mistake.
So when you say learn and grow, and I know for some people they're like, oh, the lessons, they seem so burdensome. You know, it's not really that the lessons are such a burden, it's that we resist them so much, right?
Well, I think we are human, obviously, and sometimes we're stubborn and impatient and everything else. But to me, if we have patterns in our life, whether it's the same type of experience or same type of individual, I would say that there's a lesson in that for us to learn. And sometimes the lesson can be patience. It can be unconditional love. It can be establishing boundaries. You know, sometimes the messages are repetitive, but I think when we can see, okay, what is it that I'm having the biggest challenge with? Sometimes it's receiving. And I think when we can look at that and recognize that that lesson is something that goes throughout our life in many aspects, okay, how are we going to respond now? What are we going to do? Because that's how we pass the test, so to speak, and get that lesson.
You know, I love how you pointed out sometimes it's about receiving. I know that this is something that many people struggle with in this day and age, especially here in the United States, with receiving. And, you know, is it not feeling worthy? What is that about?
Well, I think it's a lot of things, you know, and not feeling worthy is one of them. But I know a lot of people are givers and they like to do things for people, but they have a really hard time receiving or getting support or help. And in the same sense, I know that it takes a lot of courage for someone to ask and say, you know, can I get help with this? Could you do this for me? But I think that's part of the growing process as well, too. And whether it is conditioning or it's a pattern in our lives or how our parents were, whatever it may be, I think that we have to be okay to say, yes, thank you. I appreciate that. And be receptive to whatever blessings come our way, because when we do and we say thank you, and in the same sense when we put those blessings out, they're just going to keep coming back. That's how the universe works.
You know, and so there's this something that people say that you teach what you've experienced yourself in your life. And when you talk about the books that you've written and what's in those books, is it safe to assume that these were previously some challenges that you yourself have just worked through?
Yes. I'm an ongoing process, a work in progress. I will tell you, I have my days, my moments, but I'm also very real and authentic of sharing. This is what I'm experiencing. This is what I'm going through. And I think that, you know, honestly, I know there's people that do achieve ascension and enlightenment, but I think for most of us, it's going to be a progress and a process for our entire human existence.
Well, I'm glad you made that clear, because I think there can be some misperceptions out there in terms of, well, don't you just become enlightened like Buddha and then that's it? You know?
I think maybe a very small percentage do, but I really enjoy having this experience of humanness, even though some days I question it. Overall, it's amazing.
And you know, you've had some little pitfalls along the way, or big challenges even along the way with health, and you had well, I know your mom experienced a trauma when you had a neighbor who had shot himself. And so there's these little, not challenges, but poignant moments in your life.
Exactly. And I will tell you, just to be very honest, when this book came out, Journey into Consciousness, it caused a huge shift in the relationship with my mother, with my family. And I've really learned over the past year how important it is to honor myself and my emotions.
In what way?
Well, I will just, in a nutshell, sum up that they do not agree with what I do. They do not think it's good and of light. And in essence, just to spell it out, I'm the devil. So I know that's not the case, and I know that I'm operating from a place of love versus fear. But in the same sense, I have to honor my mental emotional health and do what feels good to me as well.
Well, I do commend you, because that's the tough one. It's when you step into something as unique as spiritual work, is being able to allow people to have their judgments and not take it personal, like in the Four Agreements. Yeah, exactly. That's master level work, my dear. Beautiful, beautiful. Well, I cannot believe we're coming to the end of the show. This has gone so quickly. Shelly Wilson, thank you so very much for joining me today.
Thank you, Sylvia, and you're an amazing host, and you are absolutely shining your light and assisting so many people on their journey into consciousness as well.
Oh, thank you, my dear. Thank you so very much. I hope you'll come back and join us again at another time.
I would love to. Yes.
That would be wonderful. Well, everyone, we're coming to the end of the show. I hope that you have absolutely enjoyed this as much as I have. If you want to listen to the replay, this show will be available tomorrow, Monday, in the archive section of OMTimes.com. And I just want to remind everyone that I will be here again next week live. I apologize for last Sunday. That was an encore show. We had a little bit of a conflict in my schedule. But I will be here again live next Sunday with another amazing guest. I really have some phenomenal guests lined up for you. Carolyn Mays, our Miss. I just don't even know how to pronounce her last name. This is awful. But she's going to be joining me here on Intuitive Transformations on December 13th. So you want to make sure to tune into that show for sure. Again, thank you everyone for joining us. Know that you're loved. And if you want to be on my personal prayer list, be sure to send me that email and I will definitely pray for you on a regular basis. I love you so much. Go out and be the brilliant light that you are. Bye-bye.